All right, this is lesson 14. We're computing scale factors with different units. The first part of this lesson is just a little background knowledge on how to change units in the metric system. You're going to need this for the scale factor work that we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to remind you of how to do this. Now I'm going to make this a little bigger so that I can write on this. All right, so changing within the metric system. These are all the prefixes for the metric units. So we have K, which is kilo, H, which is hecto, the D stands for deca, U stands for units. So units would be like meters, liters, and grams. That would be all of the units in the metric system. Meters, liters, and grams. That's your U. Deci is the second D. Centi would be your C, and milli would be your M, millimeters, milliliters. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to convert between the units, okay? So in question 1, it's starting with meters and going to centimeters. So let me show you how to do this. So the M, the meters, would be your U, and we're going to the C. So we're going 2 units to the right. Now you need to know that because the number that you're given is 4. Now this is a whole number. Whole numbers start with decimals at the end, so that would be 4 point. You're moving this decimal 2 spots to the right, same as what we did up top. So 2 units to the right. Now, wherever you have little blank little spaces, you're going to fill it in with zeros. And the answer to this would be 400. So 4 meters is equal to 400 centimeters. Now I'm going to erase this. It might take some of my stuff off. So that's units and centi. Okay, so for the second one, now we're going from millimeters to centimeters. So from the M, milli, to the C, centi. So that's 1 spot. This time we're moving to the left. So a whole number starts with a decimal point at the end. So the number we're working with is 80. We're going to move it 1 spot to the left, which would make that an 8. All right, let me erase that. Next one, we're going meters to millimeters. Remember, meters is the units, to millimeters, which is the M. So I'm going to count that. That's 1. Oh, my computer keeps auto-correcting me here. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to the right. So my number is 50. Put your decimal place at the end. We're going to move it 1, 2, oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3 to the right. We're going to fill it in with zeros. So my answer is 50,000. All right. And the last one, we're going centimeters to millimeters. So here's my centimeters. Here's my milliliters. We're going 1 spot to the right. So 200 starts with the decimal point at the end. Moving 1 spot to the right, which would be 2,000 millimeters. So that's just a little background on how to change in the metric system. Like I said, you're going to need to know that because all units must be the same when we're talking about scale factors. So let me make this a little smaller. Let's read. How are we going to find a scale factor? So scale factor is what we were talking about last week. It's the ratio of the length on the scale drawing to the corresponding length of the real object. So I have here 3 different steps to find this. First, you're going to write it as a ratio. Okay, you're going to write drawing over actual. Then you're going to convert it to the same units of measure. And then you're going to simplify. So let me show you how to do that. So in part A, here is our scale on our picture. And remember, scale is different. Scale is 2 units with measurements. The scale factor is what it's trying to have us find. So, let's make this a little bigger so we can actually write here. So we're asked to find the scale factor. So I'm just going to remind you that that means that we're doing the ratio drawing over actual. That's the ratio that we're using. So we have 2 inches over 3 feet. Now notice these are different units. So I'm going to make them into the same unit. I'm going to make the feet into inches. So 2 inches is going to stay as 2 inches. Now there are 12 inches in a foot. So if I have 3 feet, I'm just going to multiply 3 times 12, which gives me 36 inches. So now I'm in the same units. My units are going to cancel out. So the only numbers I have left are 2 over 36. Now this does reduce, and the calculator does it for you. So if you have the TI 30, look up at the top of your calculator. That's the old calculator. This is easy to get because you're just going to type in 2 ABC 36, and that's going to simplify it for you automatically to 1 over 18. Now if you have the new calculators, the TI 34s, you can simplify a fraction in there too. All right, you're still going to type in the fraction 2 over 36. And hit enter, and then it's going to tell you to simplify. So there's that simplify button, simp, and you hit that and enter until the arrow goes away, the down arrow goes away, and that should give you the 1 over 18. So our scale factor is 1 over 18, which makes sense because that drawing is smaller, so it's going to be 1/18 of a size. All right. Let's do the next one. This time we have a scale factor of 2 inches equals 4 yards. Again, we're asked to find scale factor. So scale factor is going to be drawing over actual. That's the ratio we're going to set up. Now the 2 inches, that's the units in the drawing. The 4 yards are the actual units. Okay, so we have 2 different units here, so we're going to change everything to inches. So 2 inches is going to stay as 2 inches. Now, 4 yards, there's 3 feet in a yard, which means 36 inches in a yard. So we're going to take 4 and we're going to multiply by 36 because there's 36 inches in a yard. So 4 times 36 is 144. So that means that in 4 yards, there's 144 inches. All right, the inches are going to cancel out, so we're left with 2 over 144. Okay. Let your calculator do the work here. So 2 ABC 144, or just type in the fraction into the new calculators and you get 1 over 72. So that's going to be your scale factor. That means it's getting really small. It's 1/72 of the actual drawing. All right, let's go to the next example. We're going to do a little word problem here. Okay, this time we're talking about a spider. This is the actual length of the spider, 0.43 milliliters. But in the drawing, they actually go to draw it because it's so small you can't see it. They're going to draw it at 8 centimeters long, and they want to know what is the scale factor. So just a reminder that we're going to do drawing over actual. That's your ratio for a scale drawing. So we just talked about how the drawing is 8 centimeters. 0.43 millimeters is your actual length. Now, I'm going to put this up at the top. This is our kilo, hecto, deca, units, deci, centimeters, meters. That's how we're going to change between these units. We want to make them the same units. All right, so I'm going to change everything into centimeters. Okay, so the 8 centimeters is going to stay as 8 centimeters. And we're going to take the millimeters and we're going to go to centimeters. So that means we're moving 1 unit to the left. So I'm going to take that decimal place, go 1 unit to the left, so 0.043 centimeters. All right, so now we're in the same units. So we're going to cancel out the units, and I have 8 over 0.043. Now the problem here is you cannot enter a decimal into the calculator in a fraction format. It will give you an error. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually divide this because dividing is the same thing as fraction. So you're going to take your calculator and do 8 divided by 0.043. Now this is going to give you a really long decimal. I think it might be easier to have it into fraction format. So if you are in the TI 30, you're going to hit second PRB. It's going to give you fraction to decimal and hit enter. All right, so you have 186 and 2/43. If you're in the new calculator, you can actually hit the 2 arrows right above the equal sign and then enter again, and that will give you the fraction format. Now, this is kind of a weird scale factor, but not really, because that spider was so small that you had to draw it bigger than it actually was. And in this case, it's telling you it's 186 times as big than the actual spider. So that's your scale factor. All right, let's take a look at the next one, example 2. It says that we have 2 figures here. Figure B is the drawing. I'm just going to label that D, and actual dimension is figure A. That's your original drawing. So it says, what is the scale factor? So I'm just going to remind you, scale factor is going to be drawing over actual. So I'm going to pick one of the sides of the shape. You have to pick the same side on both shapes. So say we pick the top. I'm going to circle the 2 numbers on the top of the drawing. So in the drawing, that top number is 40. In the bottom, or I'm sorry, in the first figure, the actual object, the top number is 10. Now there's no units on that, which is nice because I don't have to change anything. And I just have to divide. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So my scale factor is 4. Now that makes sense because remember, a scale factor is what you're multiplying all the sides by. So this is getting to be 4 times as big as the actual drawing. And if you go to each of the sides, so if I do 18 and 72, you're multiplying it by 4. If I do 11 and 44, you're multiplying by 4. So that makes sense that the object is 4 times as big, and that's your scale factor. All right, example 3. Again, okay, figure B is your drawing, and it says the actual object is figure A. And they want to know what is the scale factor. So we're doing drawing over actual. All right, so we're going to pick a side. It doesn't matter which side as long as it's corresponding. So I'm going to do the top again. That seems to be the easiest. So in the drawing, my number is 44. In the actual piece, it's 22. 44 divided by 22 is 2. So our scale factor is 2. Now what that means is the drawing is going to be twice as big as the original. That's what the 2 means. Everything's being